We have a very large influx of refugees, mainly from South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, and of course other countries in the region, which puts its strain on the country's resources. To date, Uganda is hosting over 1.6 million refugees and asylum seekers, making it the largest refugee hosting country in Africa. The majority of these refugees are from these countries already mentioned above. Refugees are not the only issue Uganda is grappling with. We are also coupled with significant labor migration challenges, and often through irregular channels of Ugandans seeking employment abroad, particularly in the Middle East, where they face risks of exploitation and forced labor. The Kampala meeting, therefore, should speak to these key issues, such as to improve labor migration governance, to protect the rights of the workers, to promote common approach to labor migration policies, to develop evidence-based labor migration policies. These were the very issues at founding and high ministerial forum that will bring together ministers of labor from all the East and the Horn of Africa to discuss the progress made over the past years. As in years past, the ministers are anticipated to sign a joint statement confirming their support for regional approach to labor migration governance. The forum will draw participants from 11 countries, namely the Republic of Burundi, the Republic of Djibouti, the State of Eritrea, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Rwanda, Federal Republic of Somalia, Republic of South Sudan, the Republic of Sudan, the United Republic of Tanzania, and the host Republic of Uganda, also the current Regional Ministerial Forum for Migration Chair. The forum will run under the theme Reframing the Narrative, celebrating the positive impacts of labor migration on local development and economic growth through the regular pathways. Officials will discuss the various phases of regular labor migration pathways and how this can foster positive contribution to local development and economic growth. The meeting will explore joint efforts that need to be created forward-looking, comprehensive, long-term solutions for the establishment, expansion, and enhancement of regular labor migration. Uganda is thankful for the partnership and support from the International Organization for Migration, without which this very important meeting would probably not be possible. Compulsory insurance, yes, this insurance has not been very clear. It has not been very mandatory according to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So when I was there last week, it is one thing that they are putting it very, very clear to all migrant workers that are going to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They will be insured as long as they go through the right licensed companies that go through our EMIS system and the Musanet system. Those ones will be insured. But the people who go there, like the one she just talked about, they use other companies that are not registered with us, and they end up having a lot of trouble, just like Nambalura. The company that took Nambalura Prosi deregistered some years back, and she has just been hanging there without any kind of contract from the previous employee. The insurance will be done by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, not Uganda, because they will be on the other end. The number of Congolese running to Uganda, this I cannot ascertain the number right now, but the Minister for Disaster and Refugees should be able to give us this information. But what I know, the situation is very tense. I remember when I used to be the Minister for Refugees, we had an emergency situation, and we had to host over 60,000 refugees just within Kisoro. And I think we all remember those news, where they used the benches, the desks for making fire. I mean, there was a lot of destruction at the Kisoro. So right now I cannot ascertain these numbers, but what I know, the situation is still tense, and we shall continue receiving these refugees because we have the open door policy for refugees from those countries. The Middle East, what happens to Ugandans who are there, to countries that don't have bilateral agreements with us? First of all, we are trying to establish more bilateral agreements. I went to Oman. That will be, I think, soon signed. We are also trying to establish in Kuwait. We are trying to establish in Bahrain. And we're also trying to establish, I think, in Turkey. Once we get success into that, we should know we'll be able to follow up how many Ugandans are there. But if a Ugandan leaves this country and goes to a country where we don't have a bilateral agreement, that means they're there on their own. But the most important thing is that the embassies should be able to support our people when they go to those countries. And in case of any emergency in the Middle East, for example, you remember very well in Sudan, there was an emergency situation, and the government acted to evacuate our Ugandans. They hired a plane. Our own Uganda Airlines courier had to go to pick Ugandans from some location, and they were brought back home. So we are always on standby as government in case of this situation. Even when we are in, we had the situation in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I remember I was still a minister for refugees. We managed to evacuate Ugandans and some other refugees that came to Uganda.
Regional Ministerial Forum, with the support of IOM, was established in January 2020 in Nairobi, Kenya, where the East of and Horn of Africa member states signed a communique and a call of action on harmonizing labor migration policies in the East and Horn of Africa region. As IOM, we have no doubt that enhancing collective actions on labor migration matters through strong cooperation and coordination of regional states, and is worth giving every effort for. We are grateful for the solid leadership of the government of Uganda for this RMFM meeting, and for the support of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK. IOM, the UN migration agencies, continues to support countries in East and Horn of Africa in enhancing labor migration governance. The RMFM supports this in a very good way. As the Minister has mentioned, under the theme of reframing the narrative, celebrating the positive impact of labor migration and local development and economic growth through regular pathways, the members will discuss on labor migration pathways and how these can foster positive contribution to local development and economic growth. One thing is very clear: if migrants have the possibility to move regularly, they can contribute very much to the development of the country, and through, whether it is through sending remittances or other support that they can give to the countries as well. For IOM, we stand for safe, regular and dignified migration that helps the migrants and the societies, as well as the development of the country of Uganda, so that we can allow to really harness on the benefits of migration and of migrants here for our societies. IOM complements the leadership of Uganda in this crucial area on regular pathways, which will also help to curb the irregular migration and the vulnerabilities of some of the migrants going abroad. We are very positive that these kind of meetings and the common stand and harmonization policies of the Eastern Horn and Africa states will help to further secure and save more migrants on their way. I thank you so much and wish you a wonderful morning. Thank you.
Mr. Oloka Kenneth, the Executive Director, Cheyo Initiative, Uganda, an organization which works on the issues of Ugandan migrant workers. There are many Ugandan migrant workers still stranded in countries like Egypt, Sudan, South Africa, Oman, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, India, Syria, by the fact that it is a government role to protect all people, to protect all migrant workers regardless of the situation they are in. And also these migrant workers have contributed immensely to the economy of Uganda. That last year they contributed 4.2 trillions to this country, more than any other export or import, more than any other service or product. It is incumbent of our government to create a fund, to create something, a resource, which is going to work on the migrant workers' issues. This fund can work, for example, on their repatriation, to process for them the visas and the tickets to be repatriated. There are many still dumped at various deportation and detention centers, at various hospitals in the destination states. So that fund can also work on such issues. Still, we call upon our government and other stakeholders to establish a systematic monitoring framework for our migrant workers to be followed up wherever they be. And also, we call upon our government to operationalize the bilateral agreements which it started with the different states, for example, the UAE, Qatar, Jordan, and others. And also call upon all Ugandans and other stakeholders to combat drug and human trafficking.